His expectations were here, but his body was down there. Next time in Las Vegas with a much better physique. Will I get the pro card in 3 weeks? And so in 3 weeks, he did at least 3 weeks worth of damage. Had he have not gone to the gym and trained for 3 weeks, I would have expected him to look better than this. Coach Greg, and in today's video, we're going to be going over Johny Muenster's horrendously horrible, awful performance when he competed in this year's Amateur Olympia. I met this guy in person, and at the time, he was 100% natural. He likes making skits, doing ridiculous things, for example, taking his shirt off at the airport, doing a lat spread, and basically being a jokester. But his dream, it's to be like Arnold. And so what better way to be like Arnold than to use and abuse performance-enhancing drugs? And so in his mind, all he'd have to do was take steroids for, 6 months and compete at the Amateur Olympia and hope for an IFBB Pro card. And in case you haven't heard of this guy, he's amassed a following of over 1.5 million followers. And so many people watch his channel because he's funny, does crazy skits, but also because of his physique. But remember, he's not natural. He admits he's not natural. He's done a crazy transformation. He put on over 20 pounds of muscle in his first cycle. But was it enough to help him to win a pro card? And as you scroll through his channel, you might be thinking, this guy, he's going to win it. He looks phenomenal. But what you don't realize is that almost all social media influencers, they post their best pictures with the proper downlighting, the camera angles, and some of them even Photoshop. The influencer Johny Muenster, last place at Olympia Amateur in classic physique. And so let's examine his physique. He looks great for the off season. If somebody were to show me this photo and say, what do you think of this guy's physique? I'd be like, he's doing great. If he goes on a diet for 2 or 3 months, he's going to have the conditioning. But as you can see him right now, he has decent size. He looks aight, but he doesn't have nearly the conditioning that's required at this level of competition. Guys, it's the Amateur Olympia. The winner gets an IFBB Pro card. And so I think people underestimate just how hard it is to get lean. They think that if they start using steroids like Johny Muenster does, of which he promotes it, in my opinion, glorifies it, that they're going to have that physique. Proof that you don't need a pro card to make a living in fitness. Good for him. And so obviously, this guy's never getting a pro card. He doesn't have nearly the physique required. He doesn't have the small waist, but he does have a decent amount of muscle. But remember, he's on steroids. Hella Mark Harley. Shocking reality. This is a wake-up call. Remember, in his own mind, he's probably thinking, I'm going to get there, perhaps top 3, top 5. Maybe I'll win my pro card. But once you see your photos on stage, under the harsh lighting, you will quickly realize, as Mike Israetel did, that you need to have a proper tan. And so going over his photo, he simply wasn't dark enough. If he would have had the proper tan, I think he would have won. He got last place, but he was missing a bit of tan on his upper quads, and so he got last place. But the reality is this, even with the proper tan, he's still not in shape. 8 years out, 10 weeks out, stay as a funny content creator. Bro, I blame his coach for letting him go on stage. He's not conditioned. It's not the coach's fault. Y'all want to blame a coach. The coach gives you a diet, and when you get up at 3 in the morning and eat more cookies than last time, which clearly this guy has done, it's not the coach's fault. The coach can't force you not to eat. And so just like with Nick Walker, the coach can't force his athlete to do the cardio. The coach can't force his athlete to not eat at 3 in the morning. Coach doesn't live by you 24/7. And so it's not the coach's fault, it's the athlete for thinking he's a pro card hopeful. I love Johny, but at that level, dude looked like a natty. Influencer versus bodybuilder. At least he's both. Remember, he showed up. At least he went to the competition. And so here's the difference between Nick Walker and Mike Israetel and Johny Muenster. Johny Muenster, Mike Israetel, they weren't lean enough, but at least they showed up. They had the balls, the courage to set foot on stage. How many of you can say the same thing? And so, yeah, he got last place. Yeah, he sucked in comparison to everyone else. But he's still better than 99.9% of the population. Most people would dream to look this good. And so although he's not even close to being good enough to get a pro card, he's still far, far better than most people will ever be. What happened? He looked way better at the last show. Well, this is what happened. He couldn't handle the diet. He stopped eating properly or stopped doing cardio. To be shredded for that long, it's hard. Remember, I've done 59 bodybuilding competitions. I've never once showed up in bad shape, but it's hard. You have to want it bad enough. And if you don't truly want it, your willpower, it's not going to get you there. You're not going to be able to say no to the cookies, candies, ice cream, and so on when you're starving. And I checked the order form, and Johny Muenster did not put an order out for GO2 Max and or Turk Builder. And so who do you think's to blame? You're all blaming his coach. He's the one that didn't order the supplements. And so if you want to make improvements, you want to have more energy for more cardio, you want more aggression in the gym, if you're looking to make more gains, especially while being natural, you just blasted hella gear for God knows how long, it's time to come off. And so while you're off, try to at least have some energy, have some ability to retain muscle by taking GO2 Max and Turk Builder. Don't forget to enter code Greg for 15% off. Click the link in description. But he makes more money than 95% of classic pros. 99%. You really think that most of the Mr. Olympia competitors are making any money? Other than C-Bum and perhaps the top guys at the Olympia, none of these guys are making money. You really think you win a classic physique competition and suddenly you're rich? You perhaps win 5 and if you're lucky, $10,000. Aside from the Olympia and the Arnolds, none of the people are getting rich from winning these competitions. And so you make far more money from having a following. Having an amazing physique doesn't mean anything in terms of making money if you don't have a following. And so Johny Muenster, in his last competition, he actually posed exceptionally well. He takes pride in displaying his physique to the best of his abilities. He literally won the best poser. Now, for his first competition, he showed up reasonably well conditioned. He had the size, he had decent conditioning, and so he did pretty good. And so after that competition, he posted his posing routine. He's very ecstatic. Legends never die, or should he have put legends never diet? Because I'm telling you, he looked better in his previous competition than he did in his current one. And his post at the time, remember, I'm reading what he stated. Next time in Las Vegas with a much better physique. Will I get the pro card in 3 weeks? And so in 3 weeks, he did at least 3 weeks worth of damage. Had he have not gone to the gym and trained for 3 weeks, I would have expected him to look better than this. It's not that he lost all his muscle, it's that he lost all his conditioning. And so it's as if he went off of the diet and just ate what he wanted for 3 weeks and then set foot on stage. Now, had he have been a guest poser, had he just showed up for a photo shoot saying, hey, I just feel like having some fun, it's all right. But to think that he had a shot at a pro card, to make a statement saying better in Vegas in 3 weeks, it didn't happen. I was expecting him to come in sharper than last time. For the next 3 weeks to really suffer. But instead of that, he did the exact opposite. He wasn't eating from my cookbook. You'd think he would have looked like that in Vegas if he was eating from my cookbook. He probably said, to hell with this. I'm eating cookies, candies, and ice cream. In other words, he went on the Nick Walker diet. And so rather than doing the cardio, putting the fork down, not eating at 3 in the morning, he decided, I'm just going to eat. Now, unlike Nick Walker, he's an amateur. He's done 1 competition. I forgive him. He doesn't have to show up. And so what I would have done in his shoes, I probably wouldn't have competed. I would have said, hey, I did my 1 competition. It's under my belt. That's enough. I'm going to take some time off. I'm going to come off the abusive doses of steroids and let my body relax, ensure that my blood work is in order, and be healthy. But instead, he decided to push it for 3 weeks. To me, that was a big mistake. It's his first competition. His expectations were here, but his body was down there. His dreams didn't match his expectations, which is the harsh reality of social media. On social media, when you post your best photos, you look amazing. But once you stand next to other people who've been competing, perhaps taking steroids for 5 or 10 years, you're quickly going to see just how high that level of competition really is. And so his comment, legends never die. If your shape is better, of course. And so my response to legends never die? No, legends all will die, and that's going to be sped up by the fact that you're using and abusing performance-enhancing drugs. Legends never die. Well, the person does. You, the person abusing steroids to get up on stage at the Olympia and get last place, that guy is going to die earlier than friggin' last time. And so is it worth it? Maybe it is. It always is at the time. But then you get older and you self-reflect and you think, why did I do those things? Was I not chasing the dopamine, the glory of standing on stage with people going like this for probably about 15 seconds? And so of course you are. But later you get older and you're thinking, it's not worth it. Eddie Hall, Noel Diesel, awesome routine, bro, looking great. Max Taylor lifts, looks majestical, sir. Regan Grimes, look awesome, Johnny, great posing. And of course, there's always somebody speaking facts. Not lean enough, unfortunately. Well, it's true, but there's so much positive. I see why you won an award for posing. This is elite. First show and you already on point. And so the comments are amazing. He's feeling good about himself and he wants to keep them coming. And once you get used to a certain level of achievement or a bar is set, anything below that point, it's not good enough. Whatever level of physique that you have, you're gonna want more. If his baseline is 220 pounds of muscle and he's competing at 210, he's not going to be happy. Now, when he was younger and natural, perhaps with 20, 25 pounds less muscle, he would have felt amazing about his look. But once you get to a certain level, you want to keep improving. Why do you think Nick Walker really pulled out of the competition? Because he wasn't as good as he once was. If Nick Walker looked the way he did this year 5 years ago, he would have stood on that stage and been proud. But because his level is raised so high, and that is his new normal, anything below that is going to feel like a disappointment. Your body gets used to whatever level of dopamine you're achieving, and the only way to feel happy is to get more than that. And so what you need to do is to start living in the moment and reflect and consider you should have gratitude. Gratitude for everything that you've accomplished. You're not always going to be able to increase the bar. And so Johny Muenster at the Olympia, he must be devastated to go from the best poser to having a last place finish. And considering he's now dabbled in performance enhancing drugs, you realize it's going to be extremely difficult for him to stop. And so my expectation, he's going to continue to use. He's going to increase the doses and his goal is to place even higher. He experienced all that glory at his first competition and he's now going to be chasing that high. I don't think he'll ever get it again. Perhaps if he wins a pro card, but what amount of drugs is he going to have to abuse in order to do that? And if you look at his physique, he does not have a classic physique. I'm sorry. Somebody has to tell you. Remember, I used to be a judge, and I'm telling you, they're looking for a smaller waist. If his waist were perhaps 3 or 4 inches smaller, he would perhaps look like he's in classic physique. But to me, it looks like he's going to need to be an open-class bodybuilder in order to be successful. And what do you think he's going to need to do in order to be great at that? Way more muscle, and to do that, way more drugs. And so, what is he now to do? Well, if I were him, I would lower my expectations. Not chase the pro card. Bro has 1.5 million followers on Instagram. Guy can make hella cash. He doesn't need to be an IPB pro. But if his passion is to compete and to enjoy it, well, keep competing. But don't show up at less than your best. Only compete if you have the desire to really push yourself, to go on the diet, to do the cardio, and to come in at your all-time best. And so clearly he's collabed with so many famous influencers, guys with millions of followers. And so I certainly would continue that. He doesn't need to have single-digit body fat to do that. And so please lower your expectations. We don't want you dying younger than last time. My suggestion to Johny Muenster, stop taking steroids. You may as well quit while you're ahead and start racing bicycles against Coach Greg. The earlier you start, the faster you're going to get. And so let's stop abusing steroids and let's become a faster bike racer than last time. And of course, while you're natural, you can take GO2 Max and Turk Builder. I know you didn't take it for competition, and that's clearly why you didn't win your pro card. That and of course the tan.
Man, it'd be cool to like fight a dog with just your hands and kill it.
What did he say?
And so interested in being a cyclist or using Turk Builder and GO2 Max, please send me a DM faster than last time. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm, like the video if you liked it, watch one of those two bloops, and of course, the cookbook that could save your diet. You can get this on the website, as well as my life's work, the Circle Diet Book. Learn how to lose weight, keep it off for the rest of your life. A very easy read. Might take you 6 hours. Looking for training programs, we have several books on the website as well, hard copy or PDF. And also, don't forget about the Harder Than Last Time clothing line. The clothes are stupendous, the highest possible quality, very comfortable, tank tops, hoodies, jogging pants, everything. Get to the website, and if you have no money, get the freaking loan. If Togi can get a loan to buy a freaking Lambo, you can get a loan to buy my freaking cookbook. And until next time, I am out.